Oh, hello.
Hi.
This is Leon Ferrante speaking with Robyn WOOD, an artist at the Mill in Adelaide. Hello, Robyn. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your art?
I am a designer in background. I've worked for many years in furniture design. In the last couple of years, I've changed my practice to incorporate more sculptural works, and that's where I sit now.
Wonderful. Yeah, tell us about the Mill and the role that it plays.
The Mill is a unique place. I've been a resident in there for 6 years.
Wow.
Have taken studio out back into my own home practice in that period for a short period of time, but it's an amazing incubator.
Oh, beautiful.
For artistic practice. It's not just where artists have space, but there's also programming that supports those artists, and it supports anyone from dance, sculpture, artisans, woodworkers, visual artists, and people who are really wanting to focus on that seriously.
And they have writers as well.
Writers, definitely the big writers program.
Yeah.
They have writers in residence. You know, they have people who go in there and develop writing or a piece that they're going to perform, and it ends up being something that might go on to be in the Fringe, Edinburgh Fringe or Adelaide Fringe or beyond.
So you find that that helps you sort of work with other artists to share ideas and so forth.
Definitely. Yeah, there's, I mean, a lot of collaboration that happens, and for me, being around other artistic spirits.
What do you like about being an artist, and what is your motivation?
I think it's taken me a long time to realise it. You know, I'm now in my 50s, that I am a creative. That's just who I am, and creating is what I need to do to express myself. I definitely understand the value of it in our lives. I think everyone has it in them to be creative, and I think it's actually vital.
It's definitely inside us, a primal...
It's primal. I know many people, often have this discussion with a lot of people, and they say, oh, I'm not a creative, or I can never draw, or I can never create. But I believe everyone has some aspect of creativity in them. They just haven't ever got to explore that. I've always created, I've always made. Actually, I had a conversation with my dad recently about it because I'm ambidextrous.
Oh, okay.
And he said he thinks it's because I was in such a hurry to create things that I needed to cut with one hand and draw with another, or I would swap pencils around. But I had this urgency in me from when I was a little girl to create. So it's always been part of my life.
So you've done that, but you moved from, say, one discipline to another, or...? Yeah,
I've explored a lot of areas through my life. I did start with teaching, and that was junior primary teaching, so it wasn't really in the art field, but I did do minor studies in art and electives where I was doing life drawing, but I only taught for a short period of time, and then went back and studied architecture or interior architecture, and, you know, over the years that went to furniture design. It was commercial interior practice. In that time I did a lot of courses woodworking, so that I learnt how to actually make what I was designing. I studied art just as an elective, as I was saying before. Actually, my teachers in high school said, don't go into design, you should be working with people because you're good with people. And I got talked out of what I should have been doing. So it wasn't until my mid-20s that I went back and studied design and knew that I was on the right path, and I knew that I needed to be in a creative field.
one thing that intrigues me is philosophy, and so do you have a philosophy?
Yep.
And does it show in your art?
Definitely. I have a real belief in the power of our connection to nature. And as my work has progressed from commercial work and into more expressive works, in the materials I choose, in the shapes and forms, organic forms, definitely nature is a huge influence in, and wanting this need to want people to connect to nature in some way. It's an exhibition that I had 2 years ago called Biophilia, Call of the Wild, was about exactly that. It was about bringing organic shapes and forms, or connecting people to organic things within our interiors and within our exteriors as well.
That's really interesting and exciting, because what you're doing is you're taking things to people that they should be aware of, but you're actually making them aware of the things that they miss somehow.
Yeah, and sometimes it's subtle, you know. They might just look at a screen and say, oh, that's a lovely screen, but and it might be in their face that it's actually has this natural patterns or natural shapes and forms. And I'm all about shadow too. You know, nature throws these shadows through trees, and if people just enjoy that, I don't want to slap people in the face with a message. I want people to just gently feel it.
Yeah, you're taking them for a little bit of a walk.
Yeah, and they may want to know further, and that's when, you know, you have artists talk to people, and then they want to understand. But I want people to just feel that gentle flow of nature, I suppose.
That sounds like a future continuing thing that could be quite diverse.
Yeah, that's certainly where I'm going with work now, is more on that connection with nature and soothing yourself from it.
What would you like to see for children in terms of art development, facilitation and access?
That's a great question, and one that I have thought about for a long time, probably because of my teaching and working with young children and seeing how creative they are when they're young. And then it gets taken out of them. You know, they're told how to produce and what to produce, and I think children are some of the most amazing artists.
They are,
really amazing artists. I mean, if you've seen the Archibald youth section, and I know that is specifically a youth section, but they're brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I think the school system has focused very much on STEM subjects. I know my daughter, it was definitely something at school that she used to talk about. They've taken more focus on those science-based subjects, which are great, and they can be included in art too, but children, you know, gradually the school pressure of that direction is certainly felt.
What are your strongest influences and favourite subjects, mediums or material?
So definitely my design background influences me. It's impossible for me not to look at an artwork and think about how it's going to affect a space and the shadow and light. I'm now thinking about works that take up more space and how they affect people within that space. So
it's not just about viewing the item itself, it's about the whole space and the interaction.
Absolutely, and that's what shadow and light and natural light and also light fittings, how they affect shadow and spaces, and so that's a huge influence. But there's an artist, Ruth Asawa, who influenced me greatly in where I'm going. There were two things about her work that I loved. One was that it took up a lot of space, but they were light, very light pieces and sculptural pieces, but also that she built that around 5 children, and family was important in the way that she worked. And female artists, you know, seeing that full story and how they incorporate that with their life.
What is the most difficult thing or things you have faced as an artist?
Emotional interference, if I can put it that way. So if you're going through a difficult time, and everyone does, but artists, you know, for me personally, got in the way of producing work. And last year I went to see a dancer speak, a guy called Daniel Jaber, who actually was in at the mill giving a workshop.
Oh, yeah.
And he had gone through a burnout period. And he said the best piece of advice that he was given was, no matter how, if you're burnt out or you're not able to produce, because that affects artists greatly, to just express whatever you're going through and don't be so outcome driven.
And that becomes your healing
And that's
process.
my healing, but
Yeah.
also in doing that, it just gets the cogs turning again to produce new work.
Yeah.
It might not be outcome driven, as in outcome driven I mean producing for an exhibition or for a grant or something like that, but you're just producing. And at some point the corner will turn. Yeah.
So, big question, how do you know when a work is done?
Oh, never done. But if the idea is expressed for me, there's a point where I will say it's time to stop.
Yeah. Have you received awards and prizes for art, and what does that actually mean to you?
I haven't put myself forward for any awards. I have achieved, got achievement, sort of recognition through studies, or I've won grants. Any artist knows grant writing is the same, and to win sort of some money to work on a project is more important to me than getting an award. Money would be good, but I really want to focus on what I'm trying to say and develop that and know personally that I'm moving forward. And so I don't actually put myself forward for awards.
I think that's probably a good place to stop. So I'd like to thank you very much, Robyn, for sharing your story and ideas with us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been lovely talking, just having a chat. It's nice.
That's it.